Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Today, we are reading from the anthology, She Walks in Beauty, A Woman's Journey Through Poems, selected and introduced by Caroline Kennedy. For my introduction, I will read the title poem, She Walks in Beauty. I dedicate this poetry hour to Tony Sawyer, 1928 to 2023, our beloved friend and magnificent actor and reader of poetry. We all miss her dearly. She Walks in Beauty by George Gordon, Lord Byron. She walks in beauty like the night of cloudless climes and starry skies, and all that's best of dark and bright meet in her aspect and her eyes, thus mellowed to that tender light which heaven to gaudy day denies. One shade the more, one ray the less, had half impaired the nameless grace which waves in every raven tress or softly lightens o'er her face, where thoughts serenely sweet express how pure, how dear their dwelling place. And on that cheek and o'er that brow, so soft, so calm, yet eloquent, the smiles that win, the tints that glow, but tell of days in goodness spent, a mind at peace with all below, a heart whose love is innocent. The marvelous actors in order of appearance are Helen Richman, Kay Weissman, and Corinne Conley. Here's Helen Richman.
Night Waitress by Linda Hull. Reflected in the plate glass, the pies look like clouds drifting off my shoulder. I'm telling myself my face has character, not beauty. It's my mother's Slavic face. She washed the floor on hands and knees below the Black Madonna, praying to her God of sorrows and visions, who's not here tonight. When I lay out the plates, small planets, the cups and moons of saucers. At this hour, the men all look as if they'd never had mothers. They do not see me. I bring the cups. I bring the silver. There's the man who leans over the jukebox nightly, pressing the combinations of numbers. I would not stop him if he touched me. But it's only songs of risky love he leans into. The cook sings with the jukebox, a moan and sizzle into the grill. On his forehead, a tattooed cross furrows, diminished when he frowns. He sings the words dragged up from the bottom of his lungs. I want a song that rolls through the night like a big Cadillac, past the factories to the refineries, squatting on the bay, round and shiny as the coffee urn warming my palm. Sometimes when coffee cruises my mind, visiting the most remote way stations, I think of my room as a calm arrival, each book and lamp in its place. The calendar on my wall predicts no disaster, only another white square waiting to be filled, like the desire that fills jail cells. The old arrest that makes me stare out the window or want to try every bar down the street. When I walk out of here in the morning, my mouth is bitter with sleeplessness. Men surge to the factories and I'm too tired to look. Fingers grip lunchbox handles, belt buckles gleam, wind riffles my uniform, and it's not romantic when the sun unlids the end of the avenue. I'm fading in the morning's insinuations, collecting in the crevices of buildings, in wrinkles, in every fault of this frail machinery. What's That Smell in the Kitchen by Marge Piercy. All over America, women are burning dinners. It's lamb chops in Peoria. It's haddock in Providence. It's steak in Chicago. Tofu delight in Big Sur. Red rice and beans in Dallas. All over America, women are burning food they're supposed to bring with calico smile on platters glittering like wax. Anger sputters in her brain pan, confined but spewing out missiles of hot fat. Carbonized despair presses like a clinker from a barbecue against the back of her eyes. If she wants to grill anything, it's her husband spitted over a slow fire. If she wants to serve him anything, it's a dead rat with a bomb in its belly, ticking like the heart of an insomniac. Her life is cooked and digested, nothing but leftovers in Tupperware. Look, she says, once I was roast duck on your platter with parsley, but now I am spam. Burning dinner is not incompetence, but war. What Do Women Want? By Kim Adonisio. I want a red dress. I want it flimsy and cheap. I want it too tight. I want to wear it until someone tears it off me. I want it sleeveless and backless, the dress so no one has to guess what's underneath. I want to walk down the street past Thrifty's and the hardware store with all those keys glittering in the window, past Mr. and Mrs. Wong selling day-old donuts in their cafe, past the Guerra brothers slinging pigs from the truck and onto the dolly, hoisting the slick snouts over their shoulders. I want to walk like I'm the only woman on earth and I can have my pick. I want that red dress. Bad. I wanted to confirm your worst fears about me, to show you how little I care about you or anything except what I want. When I find it, I'll pull that garment from its hanger like I'm choosing a body to carry me into this world, through the birth cries and the love cries too, and I'll wear it like bones, like skin. It'll be the goddamn dress they bury me in. Cosmetics Do No Good by Steve Cowitt. Cosmetics do no good. No shadow, no rouge, mascara, lipstick, nothing helps. However artfully I comb my hair, embellishing my throat and wrists with jewels, it's no use. There is no semblance of the beautiful young girl I was and long for still. My loveliness is past. And no one could be more aware than I am that coquettishness at this age only renders me ridiculous. I know it. Nevertheless, I primp myself before the glass like an infatuated schoolgirl, fussing over every detail, practicing whatever subtlety may please him. I cannot help myself. The god of passion has his will of me, and I am tossed about between humiliation and desire, rectitude and lust, disintegration and renewal, sin and salvation. Delight in Disorder by Robert Herrick. A sweet disorder in the dress kindles in clothes a wantonness, a lawn about the shoulders thrown into a fine distraction, an erring lace which here and there enthralls the crimson stomacher, a cuff neglectful, and thereby ribbons to flow confusedly, a winning wave, deserving note in the tempestuous petticoat, a careless shoestring in whose tie I see a wild civility. Do more bewitch me than when art is too precise in every part. Eagle Poem by Joy Harjo. To pray, you open your whole self to sky, to earth, to sun, to moon, to one whose voice that is you, and know there is more that you can't see, can't hear, can't know except in moments steadily growing and in languages that aren't always sound, but other circles of motion, like eagle that Sunday morning over Salt River, circled blue sky, in wind swept our hearts clean with sacred wings. We see you, see ourselves, and know that we must take the utmost care and kindness in all things. Breathe in, knowing we are made of all this, and breathe, knowing we are truly blessed because we were born and die soon within a true circle of motion. Like eagle rounding out the morning inside us, we pray that will be done in beauty, in beauty. Women's Work by Julia Alvarez. Who says a woman's work isn't high art? She challenged as she scrubbed the bathroom tiles. Keep house as if the address were your heart. We cleaned the whole upstairs before we started downstairs. I sighed, hearing my friends outside. Doing her woman's work was a hard art. To practice when the summer sun would bar the floor, I swept till she was satisfied. She kept me prisoner in her house-boned heart. She shined the tines of forks, the wheels of carts, cut lacy lattices for her pies. Her woman's work was nothing less than art. And I, her masterpiece, since I was smart, was primed, praised, polished, scolded, and advised to keep a house much better than my heart. I did not want to be her counterpart. I struck out, but became my mother's child, a woman working at home on her art, housekeeping paper as if it were her heart. If there are any heavens, my mother will, all by herself, have. By E. Cummings. If there are any heavens, my mother will, all by herself, have one. It will not be a pansy heaven, nor a fragile heaven of lilies of the valley, but it will be a heaven of black red roses. My father will be deep like a rose, tall like a rose, standing near my, swaying over her silent, with eyes which are really petals, and see nothing, with the face of a poet, really, which is a flower, and not a face with hands which whisper, this is my beloved, Suddenly in sunlight, he will bow, and the whole garden will bow. Death by Maxine Cumin. I have lived my whole life with death, said William Maxwell. At 91. And haven't we all? Amen to that. It's all right to gutter out like a candle, but the odds are better for succumbing to a stroke or pancreatic cancer. I'm not being gloomy. This bright September, when everything around me shines with being, hummingbirds still raptured in the jewelweed, puffballs humping up out of the forest duff, and the whole voluptuous garden still putting forth bright yellow pile beans, deep pleated purple cauliflowers, to say nothing of regal white corn that feeds us night after gluttonous night with a slobber of butter. Still, Maxwell's pronouncement speaks to my body's core. This old body I trouble to keep up the way I keep up my two old horses, wiping insect deterrent on their ears, cleaning the corners of their eyes, spraying their legs to defeat the gnats, carrying burns out of their thickening coats. They go on grazing thoughtlessly while winter is gathering in the wings. But it is not given to us to travel blindly as the pasture bars down to seek out the juiciest grasses, or to predict which of these two will predecease the other, or to anticipate the desperate whinnies for the missing that will ensue. Which of us will go down first is also not given. A subject that hangs unspoken between us, as with Jocasta, who begs Oedipus not to inquire further. Meanwhile, it is pleasant to share opinions and meal times, to swim together daily, I with my long, slow back and forth, he with his 100 freestyle strokes that wind him alarmingly. A sinker, he would drown if he did not flail like this. We have put behind us the State Department tour of Egypt, Israel, Thailand, Japan, that ended badly as we leaped down the yellow chute to safety after a botched takeoff. We have been made at home in Belgium, Holland, and Switzerland, narrow, xenophobic Switzerland of clean bathrooms and much butter. We have traveled by tube and metro in the realms of gold, paid obeisance to the winged Victory and the dreaded tower. But now it is time to settle as the earth itself settles in season, exhaling, dozing a little before the fall rains come. Every August, when the family gathers, we pose under the ancient willow for a series of snapshots. The same willow, its lumpish trunk sheathed in winking aluminum, that so perplexed us 40 years ago before we understood the veracity of porcupines. Now, hollowed by age and marauders, its aluminum girdle painted dull brown, it is still leafing out at the top, still housing a tumult of goldfinches. We try to hold still and smile, squinting into the brilliance, the middle-aged children, the grown grandsons, the dogs of each era, always a pair of grinning shelter dogs whose long lives are but as grasshoppers compared to our own. We try to live gracefully and at peace with our imagined deaths, but in truth, we go forward stumbling, afraid of the dark, of the cold, and of the great overwhelming loneliness of being last.
Puberty with capital letters. There went being a kid. There went baby dolls, Barbie dolls, kitchen sets, Play-Doh, crayons, make-believe. Well, maybe not make-believe, but there went innocent, childlike. There went one-piece bathing suits. In came adolescence, even though I'd had my period since I was 10. In came self-consciousness, waiting for breasts. In came attitude. And why can't I? You said, I hate you under my breath. In came diaries with hidden messages and dares. Dares I always took. In came kissing and not kissing, and doing it and not doing it. And rounding bases and not rounding bases, and rounding bases having nothing at all to do with baseball, and sometime wishing you could just play baseball instead. In came rebellion, cliches. Are you kidding? Drinking, do-overs, cheerleading uniforms, regret, pure bliss, uncovering feeling not good enough, cockiness, joy. In came wild cards, short skirts, cocktails, 15, funnels, midriff bearing, belly button rings, challenges, being challenging, the ultimate change, the ultimate fast forward. In came growing up. The Widow's Lament in Springtime by William Carlos Williams. Sorrow is my own yard, where the new grass flames as it had flamed often before, but not with the cold fire that closes round me this year. 35 years I lived with my husband. The plum tree is white today with masses of flowers. Masses of flowers load the cherry branches and color some bushes yellow, some red. But the grief in my heart is stronger than they, for though they were my joy formerly, today I notice them and turn away forgetting. Today my son told me that in the meadows, at the edge of the heavy woods in the distance, he saw trees of white flowers. I feel that I would like to go there, fall into those flowers, sink into the marsh near him. Companion, Joe McDougall. When grief came to visit, she hung her skirts and jackets in my closet as she claimed the only bath. When I protested, she assured me it would be only for a little while. And then she fell in love with the house, repapered the rooms, laid green carpet in the den. She's a good listener and plays a mean game of bridge. But it's been 7 years. Once I ordered her outright to leave. Days later, she came back weeping. I'd enjoyed my mornings, coffee for one, my solitary sunsets, my Tolstoy and Molière. I asked her in. From In Moriam, AHH, by Alfred Lord Tennyson. I envy, not in any moods, the captive void of noble rage, the linnet born within the cage that never knew the summer woods. I envy not the beast that takes his license in this field of time, unfettered by the sense of crime, to whom a conscience never wakes, nor what may count itself as blessed, the heart that never plighted troth, but stagnates in the weeds of sloth, nor any want begotten rest. I hold it true, whatever befall, I feel it when I sorrow most. 'Tis better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all. A poem of friendship by Nikki Giovanni. We were not lovers because of the love we make, but the love we have. We are not friends because of the laughs we spend, but the tears we save. I don't want to be near you for the thoughts we share, but the words we never have to speak. I will never miss you because of what we do, but what we are together. This is from a letter to his daughter by Ralph Waldo Emerson. Finish every day and be done with it. You have done what you could. Some blunders and absurdities no doubt have crept in. Forget them as soon as you can. Tomorrow is a new day. Begin it well and serenely, and with too high a spirit to be cumbered with your old nonsense. This day is all that is good and fair. It is too dear with its hopes and invitations to waste a moment on yesterday's. Leap Before You Look by W.H. Auden. The sense of danger must not disappear. The way is certainly both short and steep, however gradual it looks from here. Look if you like, but you will have to leap. Tough-minded men get mushy in their sleep and break the bylaws any fool can keep. It is not the convention, but the fear that has a tendency to disappear. The worried efforts of the busy heap, the dirt, the imprecision, and the beer produce a few smart wisecracks every year. Laugh if you can, but you will have to leap. The clothes that are considered right to wear will not be either sensible or cheap, so long as we consent to live like sheep and never mention those who disappear. Much can be said for social savoir-faire, but to rejoice when no one else is there is even harder than it is to weep. No one is watching, but you have to leap. A solitude 10,000 fathoms deep sustains the bed on which we lie, my dear. Although I love you, you will have to leap. Our dream of safety has to disappear. Leisure by W.H. Davis. What is this life if full of care? We have no time to stand and stare, no time to stand beneath the boughs and stare as long as sheep or cows. No time to see when woods we pass, where squirrels hide their nuts in grass. No time to see in broad daylight streams full of stars like skies at night. No time to turn at beauty's glance and watch her feet, how they can dance. No time to wait till her mouth can enrich that smile her eyes began. A poor life this, if full of care. We have no time to stand and stare. May today there be peace within, by Saint Teresa of Avila. May you trust God that you are exactly where you are meant to be. And may you not forget the infinite possibilities that are born of faith. May you use those gifts that you have reached and passed on, the love that has been given to you. May you be content, knowing you are a child of God. Let this presence settle into your bones and allow your soul the freedom to sing, dance, praise, and love. It is there for each and every one of us. All Things Pass by Lao Tzu. All things pass. A sunrise does not last all morning. All things pass. A cloudburst does not last all day. All things pass, nor a sunset all night. All things pass. And what always changes? Earth, sky, thunder, mountain, water, wind, fire, lake. These change. And if these do not last, do man's visions last? Do man's illusions? Take things as they come. All things pass. The Journey by Mary Oliver. One day you finally knew what you had to do and began through the voices around you, kept shouting their bad advice, though the whole house began to tremble and you felt the old tug at your ankles. Mend my life, each voice cried, but you didn't stop. You knew what you had to do, though the wind pried with its stiff fingers at the very foundations, though their melancholy was terrible. It was already late enough and a wild night and the road full of fallen branches and stones. But little by little, as you left their voices behind, the stars began to burn through the sheets of clouds. And there was a new voice, which you slowly recognized as your own. They kept you company as you strode deeper and deeper into the world, determined to do the only thing you could do, determined to save the only life that you could save.
Symptom Recital by Dorothy Parker. I do not like my state of mind. I'm bitter, querulous, unkind. I hate my legs. I hate my hands. I do not yearn for lovelier lands. I dread the dawn's recurrent light. I hate to go to bed at night. I snoot at simple, earnest folk. I cannot take the gentlest joke. I find no peace in paint or type. My world is but a lot of tripe. I'm disillusioned, empty-breasted. For what I think, I'd be arrested. I am not sick. I am not well. My quondam dreams are shot to hell. My soul is crushed, my spirit sore. I do not like me anymore. I cavil, quarrel, grumble, grouse. I ponder on the narrow house. I shudder at the thought of men. I'm due to fall in love again. Final Soliloquy of the Interior Paramour by Wallace Stevens. Like the first light of evening, as in a room in which we rest, and, for small reason, think the world imagined is the ultimate good. This is, therefore, the intensest rendezvous. It is in that thought that we collect ourselves, out of all the indifferences, into one thing. Within a single thing, a single shawl, wrapped tightly round us, since we are poor, a warmth, a light, a power, the miraculous influence. Here now we forget each other and ourselves. We feel the obscurity of an order, a whole, a knowledge, that which arranged the rendezvous. Within its vital boundary, in the mind, we say God and the imagination are one. How high that highest candle lights the dark. Out of the same light, out of the central mind, we make a dwelling in the evening air, in which being there together is enough. Variation on the word sleep by Margaret Atwood. I would like to watch you sleeping, which may not happen. I would like to watch you sleeping. I would like to sleep with you, to enter your sleep as its smooth, dark wave slides over my head, and walk with you through that lucent, wavering forest of blue-green leaves with its watery sun and 3 moons, towards the cave where you must descend, towards your worst fear. I would like to give you the silver branch, the small white flower, the one word that will protect you from the grief at the center of your dream, from the grief at the center. I would like to follow you up the long stairway again and become the boat that would row you back carefully, aflame in 2 cupped hands, to where your body lies beside me, and you enter. I would like to be the air that inhabits you for a moment only. I would like to be that unnoticed and that necessary. Youth. Osip Mandelstam, translated by W.S. Merwin. Through all of youth, I was looking for you without knowing what I was looking for or what to call you. I think I did not even know I was looking. How would I have known you when I saw you, as I did, time after time, when you appeared to me, as you did, naked, offering yourself entirely at that moment, and you let me breathe you, touch you, taste you, knowing no more than I did. And only when I began to think of losing you did I recognize you, when you were already part memory, part distance remaining mine in the ways that I learned to miss you. From what we cannot hold, the stars are made. Well, I have lost you. Edna St. Vincent Millay. Well, I have lost you, and I lost you fairly, in my own way, and with my full consent. Say what you will. Kings in a tumbrel rarely went to their deaths more proud than this one. Some nights of apprehension and hot weeping, I will confess, but that's permitted me. Day dried my eyes. I was not one for keeping rubbed in a cage, a wing that would be free. If I had loved you less or played you slyly, I might have held you for a summer more, but at the cost of words I value highly, and no such summer as the one before. Should I outlive this anguish, and men do, I shall have only good to say of you. What lips my lips have kissed, and where and why. Sonnet 43, Edna St. Vincent Millay. What lips my lips have kissed, and where and why, I have forgotten. And what arms have lain under my head till morning. But the rain is full of ghosts tonight that tap and sigh upon the glass, listen for reply. And in my heart there stirs a quiet pain for unremembered lads that not again will turn to me at midnight with a cry. Thus in winter stands the lonely tree, nor knows what birds had vanished one by one, yet knows its boughs more silent than before. I cannot say what loves have come and gone. I only know that summer sang in me a little while, that in me sings no more. From the Countess of Pembroke's Arcadia, Sir Philip Sidney. My true love hath my heart, and I have his. By just exchange, one for the other given. I hold his dear, and mine he cannot miss. There never was better bargain driven. His heart in me keeps me and him in one. My heart in him his thoughts and senses guides. He loves my heart, for once it was his own. I cherish his, because in me it bides. His heart, his wound received from my sight. My heart was wounded with his wounded heart. For as from me on him his hurt did light, so still methought in me his hurt did smart. Both equal hurt in this change sought our bliss. My true love hath my heart, and I have his. I carry your heart with me. I carry it in. E. Cummings. I carry your heart with me. Carry it in my heart. I am never without it. Anywhere I go, you go, my dear. And whatever is done by only me is your doing, my darling. I fear no fate, for you are my fate, my sweet. I want no world, for beautiful you are my world, my true. And that you are whatever a moon has always meant, and whatever a sun will always sing is you. Here is the deepest secret nobody knows. Here is the root of the root, and the bud of the bud, and the sky of the tree called life, which is higher than soul can hope or mind can hide. And this is the wonder that's keeping the stars apart. I carry you in my heart. I carry it in my heart. A birthday, Christina Rossetti. My heart is like a singing bird whose nest is in a watered shoot. My heart is like an apple tree whose boughs are bent with thick set fruit. My heart is like a rainbow shell that paddles in the halcyon sea. My heart is gladder than all these, 'cause my love is come to me. Raise me a dais of silken down, hang it with vair and purple dyes, carve it in doves and pomegranates and peacocks with 100 eyes. Work it in gold and silver grapes, in leaves and silver fleur-de-lis, because the birthday of my life is come. My love is come to me.
Well, thank you, Corinne, Kay, Helen. Your understanding and poignancy and engagement, your generous hearts are exalting and hopeful. This has been a real musical reading full of experience and advice. In the introduction to this book, Caroline Kennedy talks about all the different ways of, different stages of a woman's life. And she talks about falling in love when she's young and then older, and how different, different poets express it differently, but how we keep returning to that. And, all the things you talked about: beauty, death, anger, grace, sorrow, joy, grief, love. I mean, it's not only for women, it's for all of us, this poetry. So I want to thank you all for such a beautiful reading. Let's talk about the reading for a while. Let's start with Helen and Kay, and then Corinne, or the poetry. Helen?
Yes, in the poems that I read, it seems as though our modern women poets are really raging against the kind of things that women are expected to do, like the housework and the cooking and primping themselves to make themselves beautiful for men. And the only one who sort of went beyond that and could see a larger picture of life was Joy Harjo. I love her poetry, and she's able to look beyond the little things that we can rail against and see the beauty of life. And I love her poem, Eagle Poem.
Kay?
Well, I haven't been feeling well during this period, so I've neglected reading these poems until the end, till recently. And so I don't feel that I gave it, I wanted to read more about the poets, and which I will do. But I was just so touched by everybody's reading of these glorious poems, these wonderful words, that whether you feel good or you don't feel good, when you read it out loud, then it truly does touch your heart. And how awful it would be not to have them. We have them at our fingertips.
Corinne?
Well, yes. Well, after I finally settled down and got to read, but when those technological things happen, it does throw one into kind of a flurry. And then, of course, Kay, you're right. I mean, I know you've been suffering, and I had my 2 weeks of quarantine, and now I'm kind of left. I kept thinking, I don't know if I can do this poetry because there's like a persistent cough there. However, I got through it, and then you will too when the time comes. If you have that lingering thing. But really, I found all these poems, I found them all very uplifting, actually. Because we're not in an uplifting state around here. But I mean, with Helen's poetry of complaint, I love that, Don't you like seeing in poetry somebody saying, "Do I have to scrub a floor?" Yes, it's great. And then, of course, it was fun starting out with, the cynical Dorothy Parker. She's always fun because even she, with all her, her cynicism, is, she's ready to fall in love again. It's so funny. Yeah, no, I got a kick out of all these poems. Found them quite uplifting.
Mhm.
You know, and what the poem that Helen was talking about, Eagle poem, Joy Harjo says in it at one point, we must take the utmost care and kindness in all things, and that mindfulness. And then also, you know, where we do things, I forget which poet was, talked about do the best you can in the day and then let it go. You know, this too passes. And
Yeah.
that, you know, we all, you know, as I've gotten older, I mean, we've talked about this before, but what we found out about Zoom is, you know, wabi sabi, you know, accept the imperfection. And we do that and we move on. And one thing about America has always had in these poems too is, you know, we might feel, you know, like ridiculous at night. And then the next morning you wake up and you're full of hope. You know, just have that everlasting newness and hope. And these women are all just fabulous reading. And so I'm thankful for all of you for what you have done. We still have some more time left. And what more can we talk about? What should we talk about in terms of this poetry? Caroline Kennedy, I've always loved her. And this book is available in the library over in the country house. And that's where I found this book. And it just hit me particularly real quickly. She Walks in Beauty. So if anybody wants to check this out and go through some of these poems, I'll take it back probably this afternoon or tomorrow. But she's always been sensitive to what's important.
Yeah. Yes, I think the best poem from this group to remember is the one that ends up, "This too will pass."
Yeah.
Yeah.
This
That's
too,
what we have.
yes. Yes,
This
I was.
too will pass. You know, we get so upset and everything. And this too will pass. And you get over it and go on. And really, we do it every day of our lives.
Yes, we
We
do.
get through things. And this too, it all passes. And we're all still here and going, ready for the next thing to happen again. So
That is literally,
we should relax a little bit.
that's what we do on this live show all the time. It's like, okay, this is what it is currently, and it's not what it will be in the future. And let's celebrate the fact that it is here now, you know, in all beautiful imperfection.
That's right.
And, you know, I'm looking at the table of contents of the book and, you know, she has sections: falling in love, making love, breaking up, marriage, work, beauty, clothes, and things of this world, motherhood, silence and solitude, growing up and growing old, friendship, and how to live. And there sure is a advice for all of us too, the things we pass through, and things are changing all the time. So, you know, we're doing it, and we're doing it with good heart and with good intelligence and good works. So what more can we do but be thankful for Jennifer for asking me and for me asking you to do the show? The show wouldn't exist. And it really is a pleasure to me. I mean, obviously we all go through things during the day where we don't feel good and this technical thing and that, but we keep doing it. And so that endurance of the heart, if you will, you know, is important to me. What more would you like to say, Jennifer?
I would like to hear about what's on the schedule for next week. Would you ladies like to hear that as well?
Yes.
Next week,
Yeah.
two wonderful poets are returning. Alexis Roan Fancher, she's the editor of a real large audience-based internet magazine called Cultural Daily, I believe that's called, and Michelle Bidding, who teaches at Loyola. They're both wonderful poets. They've been on the show before, and they'll be returning.
Fantastic. And we are going to take a break on July 4th and on July 6th. So we're going to give the crew that week. We're back on July 11th. And then, looking at you here, Harry, on July 18th, we are celebrating our 500th episode of Creative Chaos.
What date is that? July 18th?
July 18th is a Tuesday.
July 18th, 500. Wow.
Can you believe it?
It's a lot. 500. Wow.
You don't look a day older.
It's so not true.
Well, I remember
Maybe
about a
not
year.
500.
I remember about a year into the show, Jennifer Clymer said, when COVID hit, we thought that was the end of creativity. And in fact, it has expanded. I've mentioned that before, and it really is. We've really done, a lot of great work, and there have been other shows too, aside from poetry, as we all know, that many of you participated in.
Yep. And that will continue. We're not stopping at 500.
Too late to stop now.
Exactly.
Well, I will say this is very nice to do this today. It's my birthday, so you can all wish me happy birthday.
Let's sing happy birthday.
And this is a
Jennifer.
nice way to celebrate it with
Jennifer.
my poetry friends.
Let's sing, Jennifer, happy birthday to Corinne. Let's sing that. You started off, would you please?
Yes.
Happy
Oh.
birthday
To you.
Happy
Birthday
birthday
to
To
you.
you.
Happy birthday, dear Corinne.
Happy
Happy
birthday to you.
Oh, thank you. So glad I mentioned it. Yes.
Can I sing my zippy jazzy version of Happy Birthday for you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Happy birthday, Shadua, to you, but Isabel.
Oh,
Happy
yeah.
birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Have a happy birthday, dear Corinne. Happy birthday, Shubada, to you. Happy birthday to you. Yeah.
Oh. Woo-hoo. What a birthday celebration. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on your birthday. That's wonderful.
Well, we'll
Great,
have
and
to
that's-
celebrate when we're not in quarantine.
Yes.
And
So-
let's just all say, I'm sure I was thinking of her, that I feel as though Tony Sawyer was with us today too, with all of so much of the poetry that was read today was right up her alley. She would loved it, and I'm sure she did love it, and I'm sure she's wishing me a happy birthday right now. Yeah, still with us.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for saying that.